In March 2019, Rich Sutton published a reality check for the entire field. The bitter lesson. The uncomfortable truth? 70 years of human ingenuity, handcrafted features and heuristics are consistently crushed by simple algorithms scaled up with brute force. Look at the history. 1997, Deep Blue defeats Kasparov, not through superior chess understanding, but by crunching 200 million positions per second. Later, AlphaZero learns entirely from self-play, zero human knowledge, and destroys Stockfish. 28 wins, 72 draws, 0 losses. In computer vision, decades of engineered edge detectors were obliterated by AlexNet in 5 days. 2 GPUs reduced the error rate by 37%. The network rediscovered in a week what neuroscientists spent decades cataloging. Then came AlphaGo's Move 37, a stroke of alien genius no human had ever conceived. The pattern is absolute. General methods plus compute beat specialization every time. And this pattern predicts Omni models. Don't build separate architectures, build one. Feed it everything and scale.
January 2020. Jared Kaplan and OpenAI published The Physics of AI. After training over 1,000 models, they discovered that performance isn't random. It follows precise power laws. Cross-entropy loss drops based on 3 variables. First, parameters. Loss scales as n to the negative 0.076. 10 times the size, roughly 19% better loss. Second, data. Loss scales as d to the negative 0.095. Data pays off faster than size. Third, compute. Optimize the mix and loss decreases as compute to the negative 0.050. These aren't rough trends. They are straight lines on a log-log plot across 7 orders of magnitude. This transformed AI from guesswork into engineering. You can now predict the performance of a 175 billion parameter model by running experiments 1,000 times smaller. There are no surprise cliffs, just a smooth, relentless curve of improvement.
Kaplan didn't just find the laws, he mapped the battlefield. He defined 3 regimes. First, the compute-limited regime. If GPU hours are your bottleneck, the math was surprising. Train a massive model for fewer steps. Second, the data-limited regime. If you run out of tokens, adding parameters just leads to memorization. And third, the model-limited regime, where the network is just too small to learn the data. Based on this, Kaplan recommended a specific split. For every extra dollar of compute, allocate 73% to model size and only 27% to data. This logic built the giants like GPT-3, massive parameters, modest training data. It turns out this specific recommendation was wrong. We'll get to that. But the architectural finding holds. Transformers have a steeper scaling exponent than LSTMs. They fundamentally extract more intelligence per parameter.
But do these laws hold for images? In 2021, Google's ALIN gave the answer. Yes. And it added a twist. Scale beats quality. Previous models like Clip used 400 million cleaned image text pairs. Align scraped 1.8 billion pairs from the raw internet. Alt text, noise, irrelevant descriptions, it took it all. Conventional wisdom said the noise would ruin the model. Scale said the opposite. With 1.8 billion examples, the signal overwhelmed the noise. On Flickr 30K retrieval, Align hit 95.3% recall, beating Clip's 88%. On ImageNet, it matched performance using data no human ever cleaned. The implication for Omni models is massive. You don't need expensive perfect labels, you need scale. And the noisy internet provides that scale for free. 2 years later, DeepMind's Jordan Hoffman dropped the Chinchilla paper and corrected the industry. Kaplan's 73-27 split was inefficient. Through isoflop analysis, Hoffman found the true optimal ratio is 50-50. For every doubling of compute, you must double model size and training data equally. This meant the entire generation of 2020 models was over-parameterized and under-trained. GPT-3 had 175 billion parameters, but only saw 300 billion tokens. To be optimal, it needed 3.5 trillion. To prove it, they built Chinchilla, a 70 billion parameter model 4 times smaller than Gopher, trained on 4 times more data. It won on every benchmark. MMLU, 67.5 versus 60. Math, 35.
The Chinchilla result created a new crisis, the data wall. If optimal training requires trillions of tokens, we have a supply problem. High-quality English text on the internet tops out around 8 to 15 trillion tokens. 2 or 3 frontier runs, and you've read the entire library. The power law stalls if you can't feed it. This is why Omni models are not just a feature, they are an economic necessity. Text is finite, but the supply of images, video, audio, and sensor data, effectively infinite. The escape from the data wall is multimodal. To sustain the scaling curves for the next decade, models must stop just reading and start seeing, hearing, and observing the world. But who labels petabytes of video? No one. Scaling laws rely on self-supervision. The data labels itself. In language, it's next token prediction. The cat sat on the predict mat. That simple objective turns the whole internet into a dataset. In vision, masked autoencoders hide 75% of an image and force the model to reconstruct it. To fill in the blanks, the model must understand the scene. In multimodal, CLIP uses the fact that alt text is already paired with images. The internet is a naturally occurring supervision engine. We don't need human annotators. We just need algorithms that can extract signal from the raw stream of reality.
Here is the surprise. You might think splitting a model's brain across text and vision would dilute it. The evidence shows the opposite: positive transfer. Text organizes vision. Without language, a visual encoder groups objects by color or texture. Add the word dog, and it clusters them by concept, regardless of lighting. Conversely, vision grounds language. Pure text models hallucinate physics because they've never dropped a cup. But train a model on robot data, like Palm E, and its language reasoning improves. It understands gravity because it has seen it. At scale, modalities don't compete for capacity. They reinforce each other. The whole is genuinely greater than the sum of its parts. Scaling laws give us smooth curves for loss, but capabilities? They don't glide, they jump. We call these phase transitions. Take arithmetic. Below 10 billion parameters, a model fails. Then, suddenly, it gets it. Chain of thought reasoning? Zero benefit on small models, massive gains on large ones. It's like a circuit completing. The capability stays dormant until every component is in place, then snaps on. In Omni models, this gets even more powerful. What happens when a visual circuit and a logic circuit connect at scale? We get emergent abilities like chart reading or visual geometry solving. Things we never explicitly programmed just appear. The scale itself creates the competence. This brings us to the predictability paradox. We have perfected the science of predicting loss. Thanks to Kaplan and Chinchilla, we can forecast the error rate of a billion-dollar model before we buy a single GPU. It is rigorous engineering. Yet, we have zero ability to predict what that model can actually do. Will it learn to code? Will it understand sarcasm? Will it solve physics? We don't know until it emerges. We know the investment will pay off in lower loss. We just don't know what capabilities that loss represents. We are betting on a curve that promises us intelligence without telling us what form it will take. So why does Omni work? Because the science demands it. The bitter lesson told us to trust compute over human design. Kaplan gave us the power laws to invest with confidence. Align showed us those laws hold for multimodal data. Chinchilla proved we need massive data scale to be efficient. The data wall forced us to look beyond text, and self-supervision turned the entire internet into fuel. When you stack these insights, the Omni model isn't just a trend, it is the mathematical inevitability of scaling. We are building a single general architecture, feeding it the entire world, and letting the laws of physics take over. And we are just getting started.